genre. So I just wanted everybody to know that. Yeah, I'm glad that we decided to meet. Miss Carter's on. Hey, Angela.
Hey, how is
Did you?
everybody?
Yeah, fine. Did you run this morning?
No running this morning.
Okay, all right there. Well, I tell you what, you look as fresh and effervescent as ever.
All right, well, thank you.
All right there. Okay.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah. Um, well, I tell you what, this is going to be real free flowing. It's going to be unscripted, and you have the liberty to say just about anything that you want to say. Um, you know, as long as you don't put yourself in a position where it's going to bring some libel charges against you, you can say anything that you want to say this morning, including something that's scandalous if you can get away with it. But we're very fortunate. I'm going to express gratitude, and I'm going to express solidarity with all of those folk who've been impacted by the COVID-19 continuing crisis. And we are very prayerful for their families. And we hope that recovery is in sight. And if they are trying to heal from mourning, any stage of grief, we ask that they would be able to heal. But I want to thank everybody for being aboard this morning. I said that this is that the end of the year is in memory of Big Floyd and Breonna Taylor and a host of other people. It seems like the list keeps getting longer, but we are in solidarity with the fight for reimagining America. Well, this is the beloved community. The first thing we wanted to have a little dialogue about, we want to just ask the question, we demobilizing too soon in the face of a continuing coup? Or are we very confident that the institutions have held and we can relax?
No, I think we need to keep moving forward. We can't relax.
Okay.
No, I don't see any reason to take our foot off the gas pedal at this point.
Jim Lee?
Well, I think that we're in a very critical stage at this point. We're right around the corner from having the government shut down again. And I do believe that this president may possibly use everything at his disposal to cause as much chaos as he can. And that would cause quite a bit. And so I think that we have to keep our foot on the gas as one guy said there. But what I really believe is that we have to put pressure on the elected politicians to stand up and do something, because that's the only fight that we have left, because we're not voting now except in Georgia. So that's the only fight we have left right now against this administration.
Thank you. Mr. Gary.
I agree with everything that's been said. I think particularly what James said about our being in a critical period. And the thing that I've been most hopeful that would not happen is that the militias would, or whatever you want to call the armed extremists, the people who've been trying to use violence to persuade public opinion or whatever, would not see the opportunity now to help Trump with his push toward martial law. So I'm hopeful that the Tennessee situation will not be something that's repeated. I think the next 30 days are critical. He's looking for an excuse. And you know, I don't know if it was a blessing or a curse for Oma Wiley to have me present that Tom Snyder book because it's things are moving exactly, you know, in a way that tells us not to take our foot off the pedal. So I will just add this, that it also doesn't help that the police killings continue. The man yesterday in Ohio was just, you know, the latest in a string of, you know, just horrific, you know, crimes by law enforcement. And so we're still on a powder keg. And I agree with James that Trump will use the government shutdown if he need. He will use everything in his power to create chaos. And chaos is his friend. Chaos is always the friend of any authoritarian that's trying to hold on to power. So I think we have to keep being vigilant, we have to keep being aware and active, and, you know, talking to politicians to do what they can do. So I feel that we have to keep going. I'm just so thankful that there's so many, or, you know, groups like us, both formal and informal, that are trying to do this. So that makes me hopeful.
Thank you. But Bob Henson.
I totally agree with what's been said. You folks are very astute and very wise, I think, and I'm glad to hear everybody's keeping vigilant. And I do want to tell you that the Election Defenders Coalition that formed in Houston continues to meet every Monday, and our commitment is to meet through the 20th of January for sure, to stay on top, to stay in touch in case we need to have a local response that we can help with. But as everyone has said, we are not out of this until that man is out of the White House. And he's got, what, 25 more days to wreak havoc. And one day we have to look forward to is January 6th, which is the date that the electoral votes will be presented to combined both houses of Congress. The vice president would be presiding, and he is supposed to read the results and declare the winner. And as of now, Donald Trump is trying to figure out a way to use that occasion to overturn the election. And we have some 70 members of the House who have said they're ready to speak on an objection to admitting the votes from the swing states, which is illegal under the law. So they will have to, if they have a senator and a representative that objects to any of the votes, they will go into separate sessions for 2 hours of debate, is what I've read. And people are already lining up to say they don't think the votes are legal. So they're not done yet. It'll be a really harrowing 25 days, and we have to stay on top of it and stay ready to do whatever we can. So I'm glad to be with you on a day like this.
Yeah, glad to have you. So we have another sage and luminary that has joined us. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning, and good morning to everyone.
Yes.
Morning.
Yeah. So Wendy, we just had reflections on whether or not whether we are out of danger or not from the attempted coup by the Trump and the Russians. Are we out of danger from your perspective?
I would say we're more out of danger than we were 3 weeks ago, but I don't think we're out of danger. No, I agree very much with, was it Bob Henson who was talking before, or David? Or, I don't know. I agree with what I caught of the last of what they were saying. No, I don't think we're not in the clear.
Okay. All right then. Well, we'll do the best we can to keep our foot on the pedal.
May I add, please?
Yes, please. I'm sorry I missed you.
That's okay, no problem. I certainly agree with what everyone has said. And I frankly think that a part of the coup is this whole nonsense over rejecting the stimulus package, because I don't think Donald Trump cares about whether we get $5 or 10 or 25 or 2,000. I think that is just a bigger way to show his anger against his Republican, you know, followers or whatever they are, loyalists, whatever you want to call them, who have finally started to articulate support for the transition to the Biden Harris administration. And so I really am in solidarity with all the people whose eviction notices will show up today, whose unemployment compensation benefits will end today, the day after Christmas, no less, the day after we're celebrating the birth of hope and life and, love. There's certainly no hope and no life and no love shown for our brothers and sisters who are, in fear of being homeless tonight. So I think that is all part of the attempted coup. I don't see the issues as separate. And so I certainly think there's much more for all of us to do. And thank you for all of your comments and all of your, your wisdom about this.
No, thank you, lady. Thank you so much. I wish we had time because I'd like to hear you all give your takes on what just happened in Nashville. Sharon mentioned Timothy Snyder. I'd just like to read a statement that was in his book. Modern tyranny is terror management. When the terrorist attack comes, remember that authoritarians exploit such events in order to consolidate power. The sudden disaster that requires the end of checks and balances, the dissolution of opposition parties, the suspension of freedom of expression, the right to a fair trial, and so on is the oldest trick in the Hitlerian book. Do not fall for it. That was point 18. Okay. Thank you so much. Getting everybody's comments on that. So I have a little preamble statement to what I hope will be a rich dialogue by us this morning. The preamble statement says, we are born of the conviction that we are a family group and no person in the beloved community should be without a family, nuclear and extended. We are a deepening solidarity based on our historical commitment to those values that promote human life and dignity. So what I would like for everybody to do is to look at the topics that we have here, the questions. I wanted you to pick 3 of these to speak to. Can you scroll that down a little bit, Ms. Brandley? Okay, yeah, good. Okay, that's very wonderful. What I wanted everybody to do, if the 3 that you feel that you would like to respond to, select those. I'm hoping that everybody will select number 5. Now, if you don't select number 5 at the end of whatever 3 you suggest that you select, we'll ask you to maybe speak to number 5. And I think that we'll be able to compare and contrast some experiences. Let me ask Bob Henson, where's David Agwood? I can't hear him. Ask him to unmute, please.
Oh, sorry. I'll email him right now. That's a good point.
Okay, good. Yeah, and Cheryl, where's Miss Stevens?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can text her.
I did get a text from her, an email from her about the retirement group, which I'll speak to later on. But
do
and
know that
also,
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, I just remembered she is out of town. She's with her daughter in Boston. So I
okay,
don't know, that's probably why.
okay. What about Miss Carissa Arthur?
She's about to log on.
Okay, all right then. Okay, well, look. So if you look at those questions, number 5 says, do you have a multicultural, multinational, multiracial gender family? So what I'm trying to find out is if your family composition looks like America, or does it, I guess if it's all monoracial, it can still look like America, but I'm trying to see what kind of diversity that we have within our family composition. Now, I started to put on there, which we normally do, is that tell me about your most embarrassing moment. But I decided to leave that out because I think that we can get the flavor that we want without asking you about your most embarrassing moment.
Man, look here,
Huh?
brother, look, at this point in life,
Okay.
if we can't talk about what was the most disappointing or embarrassing thing to us, we still got a long way to go.
Okay. All right.
I'll start if you don't mind.
Yeah. Don't look, Johnson, you go ahead and start, but don't tell me about your years between, let's say, 19 and 40. Just leave those alone.
Well, now, brother,
No, I'm serious. I'm not serious.
My most embarrassing moment was when my first grade teacher, Miss Godfrey, who is one of my Facebook friends, made me stand up in front of the class with my arms spread out, parallel to my body, standing on one leg for running my mouth. Needless to say, she had to say nothing else to me after that.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll do it.
That'll do it, man. She and I laugh about that all the time.
Yeah. Hey, let me say it like this. I don't know how efficacious I don't know how efficacious that treatment that she gave you. It doesn't appear that she got the dividends that she wanted from that.
Oh yeah, she did.
Okay.
She did. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go right ahead, Johnson. So thank you for letting down your defenses and talking to us so fluidly about that.
That's not a problem. Oh, so you want me to continue?
Yeah, because I want you to do 3.
Number 3. The characteristics of a person you should have to be your friend. Somebody with integrity, somebody that's not a yes man, and somebody who will be there for you when you are at your worst moments. For me, that's a guy named Bernard Lee. And number 5, I have a multicultural, multinational, gender fluid family. My oldest son is gay. He's an actor. My second son, who just he and his lady blessed us with a grandchild in June. She is Portuguese and Native American. And my great-great-grandfather was a white man. So there you have it.
Sound like my family.
Johnson, you mean you're going to publicly admit that you got white blood in you?
Ain't no way I can deny it, brother. I got a blue ring around my brown eye.
Okay. Okay. All right there. Yeah, no, thank you for being so candid with us. Who's going to be next?
Oh, I'll go ahead so I can get this over with. I'm going to take number 1. I think that probably in my lifetime, my greatest accomplishment was when I was appointed vice president of student affairs at Grambling State University. So that was a career high for me, and so that would be my greatest accomplishment. The thing in terms of the characteristics that a person must have to be my best friend, you have to be the same that you have always been. If you have changed and if you have morphed into something else, then you're not who I once considered to be my best friend. So you have to be the same as you were when we were 10 as we are now in our 70s.
Yeah.
My favorite pastime is retirement. I've been retired for 21 years, and it's not for everybody, but it fits me like a glove fits a hand. I love it. That's my 3.
Thank you so much.
Well, I can go next, as James said, to get it over with. These are not the greatest, but I guess, I mean, I have many great accomplishments, of course, like we all do, but I do count the 10 years that I taught history at Westbury High School from 86 to 96 as a great accomplishment. For me personally, to have survived it mentally and physically, it was very stressful. But I do have a bunch of notes that I saved from students who said I was a pretty good teacher, which makes me feel like I did some good. I did sponsor the Students for Social Responsibility Club and did a lot of nice projects with students outside of school. So I look back on that with pride. But actually, the most embarrassing incident that I care to share or can remember right now is also from my teaching experience. Just the quick story is, in my first year of teaching, which is like 86, I look out in my classroom and one of my students has hair that is about 4 inches off his head, straight up, all, kind of glued together. If you recall the style from the punk era, okay? And this kind of shocked my innocent, person to see this in my classroom. And because he had never worn this hairstyle that way before, but it was about 4 inches off his head. So I said, okay, look, we're going to have to figure out what to do about this. We can't have class with your hair standing 4 inches off your head. And somehow I marched this kid to the office, which was very close. So I left my class for about 5 minutes. And I walked into the assistant principal's office and I said, Mr. Simmons, is this appropriate attire for the classroom? I don't think we can have class in my room with this hairstyle. And he looked at me and he said, Mr. Hinchin, that's fine. No problem. And I kind of just swallowed my pride and walked the student back to class and went on about my business, feeling like a fool. So that was my most embarrassing I can recall. And just a pastime for me, I've really realized that during the COVID shutdown, I really enjoy daily walks. Yeah. I take 30 to 45 minutes every day. I haven't missed one since the shutdown started. And either I listen to music or I listen to podcasts that I enjoy, or I talk to myself and try to figure stuff out. And I really value that time out in kind of nature where I have a lot of trees. And even in the hot summer, it's good to be out of the house. So I recommend that to everybody.
I will go next, Omo. So I come from a very monoracial family, quite privileged family in many ways, but also a very multi-furcated family in the sense that For most of my childhood into 2021, I lived abroad. My father worked in intelligence for the government. So I was always, from the age of 8, exposed to different environments, different people, different histories. And that has had an enormous effect on my life and diversifying my life in many ways in my circle of friends and contacts. I think I have two accomplishments that I am very proud of. And I feel if I had to die very soon, I would die feeling that I had lived a good life. One is after I did an extensive story for Life magazine on the effects of the herbicide we used in Vietnam, Agent Orange, on US veterans. I went to work with 3 veterans organizations around the country. And first we got legislation passed in Texas for medical care and for research and for the beginning of recognition by the VA of chemical poisoning as being a war-induced ailment or disease, which meant they could get treatment from the VA. And then finally, thanks to Congressman Bob Eckhart from Houston, we had national legislation passed that recognizes Agent Orange and chemical poisoning as one of the ailments and diseases as a part of warfare, as a part of serving in the military during war. And the second one is the creation with Fred Baldwin of PhotoFest in Houston in the mid-'80s, which was essentially to try to break down the hierarchy that existed out of New York and 3 of the big museums in the United States about what kind of photography they showed, what parts of the world, and to really open up that world of creativity. PhotoFest is still going on and growing, and it has a year-round education program in the schools, not to teach photography, but to use photography as a way of helping cognitive learning and the effectiveness of being in a classroom. And I can safely say that we have provided sort of lifelong opportunities for really thousands of people around the world and in the US. So I feel very lucky to have been able to have done that, starting with absolutely no financial resources. So this is why I think Houston has this sense of being able to take a risk and even an entrepreneurial cultural risk. I want to give Houston that credit. In terms of, well, I've had many, many small embarrassments in my life. So at some point, I'd be glad to enumerate those. In terms of a best friend, somebody who is deeply curious about the world, about other people, who cares about other people, who thinks on a daily basis beyond his or herself, and is capable of affection, sensitivity, and love. So,
Ms. Watrous, as a veteran of the United States Air Force, I thank you for all the work that you did.
well, thank you very much for not only serving, of course, even though I'm very much against many of the wars that we have initiated, but recognizing that. So thank you.
Thank you. A lot of veterans would not be able to get the health care that they needed were it not for your efforts.
That is actually true, and they've just expanded the definition of chemical poisoning in the VA.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wendy, we're going to have a lot of feedback going forward with your talk about the impact of that legislation and the Veterans Administration, because so many of us have friends that came back from Vietnam, haven't been exposed to this chemical poisoning. So you just stay tuned on that. Who's next?
Okay.
What's up, Leon?
My brother, I apologize for just tuning in. You know, we do have a time difference, and for some reason, I didn't clear that with you initially. But
Okay,
thanks
well,
for having me aboard.
well,
Yeah, Leon, you come highly recommended by somebody who's very dear to all of us. So welcome aboard. What we're doing right now is that we, if you can see this questionnaire on the page, we having a bundling what's up with me moment. So we'll be able to talk further after this is over, but since this is your first, your maiden voyage with us, but look at that questionnaire because we'll probably ask you to weigh in as we get to the very end. So I think that we were going to hear from Miss Carter.
Yes, I'm happy to share. I'll start with one of my or a couple of my greatest accomplishments, and that I see accomplishment in the sense that it's joining with people, teams of people who are taking on things that are just so much bigger than them, they can't even really embrace the whole concept. So I'll talk about two of my experiences in my career, one of which was when I accepted an invitation to go out to Los Angeles County, the Child Protection Department, and I was charged with a group of others to lead the second largest at the time, it was in 2003, the second largest child abuse or child protection system in the country. And our arduous task was to try to shorten the length of stay in home care for a system, that was many, many tens of thousands of children who had been pulled out of home and were in the system of child protection and in foster care. And the big job was to make sure the children were safe, of course, but to also be reunited with some members of their family. Now, one of the most perverse portions of the history of this system is that it is literally funded financially by out-of-home care days. So for every day a child was out of home, that system grew by anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a day per child. And so for a system like LA County, their child protection system was in the multiple billions of dollars. And so our job was to find family members. And unfortunately, this system had not looked for family members. So we would go in and find out that a child who had been placed in out-of-home care, who had been removed from a family member where their safety was at risk, had a cousin or an uncle or an aunt who lived 2 blocks away. But the system hadn't managed to find the way to look for those family members so that those children could be in a family unit, in an actual family unit. And so the accomplishment for us for a period of time, these things are hard to sustain, but for a period of time, was that we were able to cut that number of children in out-of-home care in half in a period of about 2 or 3 years, and to have that be sustained for about 4 or 5 years. And I haven't checked those stats lately because sometimes I look at them and I cry. But for a while, there was some important work there, and I was blessed to be a member of the leadership team who helped to accomplish that. And so then in that, that I'll just share that. I was going to share another, but I don't want to take so much time. And then I have, secondly, an aging caregiver challenge in that both my parents, blessedly, are 89 and 91 years of age, whom I'm, sort of the primary lead for their care, sort of looking out for them and working with my siblings to make sure that, their needs are met. They're blessed to be able to stay in their own homes, which is their lifelong prayer and wish. And so they're still there and still here. And, thankfully, we're finding great caregivers to assist us in keeping them in their home. And I think, like Bob said, I love to walk every day, or move outside every day, at least a couple of miles around my neighborhood. There's some wonderful little spots to do that in our neighborhood, so it's just a joy. I love cooking for my family. I love tending to the beautiful flowers in my garden, and listening to good music.
Okay, Angela, thank you so much. All of those things that you said about the gardening and the good music kind of indicates that you don't have any vices at all, and that's what.
Well, I don't know about that. That's
Okay.
I think that's a different day. I think we'll cover those topics another day.
Yeah.
I'm with Wendy. We can enumerate those a little later.
Right then. Now, will you speak to number 5?
Number 5. Oh, yes. Yes. I have a multicultural and a gender-rich family. A very close family member is gay. Very close family members are in partnership with, have a white partner. I think that some of my closest friends in the world don't look like me and didn't grow up like me, and we have some of the most wonderful fights and debates and conversations about the world that just make me feel so blessed to be alive. So yeah, my family looks a lot like the larger America.
Thank you so much. Ms. Brandley, can you go next?
Sure. So one of my greatest accomplishments, and I would say this accomplishment, was to actually complete my master's while working a full-time job. So that was one of my greatest accomplishments. And then I have another greatest accomplishment, but it's more geared towards family. It is geared towards when my maternal grandparents was living. I was able to give and provide to them whatever they wanted at that time. And to me, family is actually very important. There's individuals who do not or haven't had a chance to actually meet their grandparents. So for me, that was a great accomplishment for me to put my life on hold to be around my grandparents until they went home to the glory. And one of my embarrassing moments was when I started a job, and I had my nice business outfit on, going down the stairs, had my laptop bag on, and I didn't tumble down the stairs, and I didn't hop back a rubber band. So that was one of my most embarrassing moments. And then I had the nerve to look around to see if anyone was looking. I wasn't worried about if I was hurt. It was just really embarrassing to go down the stairs and just tumble down.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And then number 5, I do have a multicultural, multinational family. My grandfather, his grandfather was mixed with Indian. And so I do have that. And then I just want to, number 7, I do have trans friends, because I think that everybody is a friend regardless of whatever goes whatever their decision is, they're still friends and they're good people. So I'll just make that short and brief.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Ms. Arthur.
Ms. Wally, I'll go next.
Okay, please. Please.
Okay, I'll start with my greatest accomplishment was to graduate from college at the age of 58. And along those lines, again, family is very important to me. And outside of finishing school, becoming a grandmother and of course a mother first is a major accomplishment. And anybody that knows me know that my children and my grandchildren are my life. Multicultural, multigender family. We don't have to go very far at all. Well, my great grandfather on both sides of the family was a white man. But more than that, I have a biracial grandson whom I love dearly. I have a son who is gay, who I'm very proud of, all of his many accomplishments. And when my family gets together, no people constantly ask, you know, who's who and where are they from and what nationality are you guys? And of course, we come from down in South Louisiana, so there's a lot of that going on. And my favorite pastime would be helping others. And when I'm not doing that, hunting and fishing with my lovely husband. And we love to listen to music and love to travel.
And Charlotte, I might say, and we'll have some further conversation about this, is that when your husband explains to me where your family is in the United States, I've told him, just tell me where our family is not. I've never heard of anybody got so much family all over the country like you do. But it's a wonderful thing. So, Miss Arthur, can you take us?
It is.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I came on a little late. I had some technical difficulties, but I'm here. Let's see here. I was looking at the list. I'm going to skip over 1 and 2 because I'm still thinking about that. That's a good question for me in life that I need to pinpoint for myself. But as far as number 3 goes, I would say for me is highly would be loyalty and support from a best friend. And then also be goal-oriented together or like-minded in life and setting goals. I think if you have a good support system and a best friend and you have that loyalty there, sky's the limit to you. As far as number 4, I've said it before, I have a brother with cerebral palsy. I consider him my son sometimes. I have to remind myself he's not my child, but he's been a great blessing to us. There's been a lot of challenges. We've gotten to the point where in history, he was supposed to be a vegetable according to all the medical doctors we had. And he basically is a man of his own. He walks, he talks in his own little language. He was supposed to never walk. He was supposed to never be able to think on his own. And he's a very, very independent young man, very smart. So he's one of the joys in my life. I don't know where I'd be without him. Let's see here. My family is the definition of a melting pot. Trinidad is a melting pot where my family is from. But in that being said, we have family. Most of our family migrated from Calcutta, India, and Portuguese. And then they moved to Trinidad. And then my grandfather's side, they were all from Venezuela, but they also had Irish in them, if I'm not mistaken. I think his grandfather was Irish and migrated to Venezuela and created him. And then on my dad's side, we have African, and we also have Indian. So that was pretty awesome. But when we go to family reunions, one side we're all tall, we all look alike, and on the other side you have all the Indians and all the all the Spanish people, and it's a good thing. And all our foods are incorporated with each other too. So I have a great palate from around the world. Um, let's see here. I do have transgender and biracial, not biracial, excuse me, bi friends and gay as well. I'm a very big supporter of the LGBTQ and other letters, sometimes Y. So I support them a lot. I love them. They bring me joy. Let me see if I can get another one in there. Let's see here. Favorite pastime, food, a poem. If you know me and you know I love a good horror movie. I love to sleep to them. I know it's weird, but it calms me down in bad situations. And I'm a major foodie. And I love all kinds of music. I don't have one set favorite song. I go all the way from classical all the way to heavy metal. So I'm very diverse in that category. And as far as books, I love religious books. Anything dealing with religion or sci-fi, you got me, especially UFOs or Jesus. Sign me up. But
Okay.
other than that, ideas about how to turn Texas blue, I don't know. Door knock, I have no idea, but it needs to happen. It's time. And I think it's there. It's just we need to go in those areas that didn't vote this year. And that's to me, that's a major eye opener. And we need to investigate that why they didn't vote. And it's clearly because of certain issues that are going on. And if we can sway them, then I think we would be blue if we can get those votes.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Fascinating,
No problem.
intriguing. Your family. I think Henry Louis Gates needs to get in touch with you on his Finding Your Roots. And you have
Yeah.
you have a profound story to tell. And
Yes, it comes all the way from here to all the way over here.
yes. And so yeah, your story is very similar to a lot of stories, but it's the thing that I put an asterisk by that makes it different is that I'm going to try to ponder how you tolerate that heavy metal. Okay. All right. No, but
There's some good ones.
yeah, but thank you for sharing that, being so candid and honest with us. So, Mr. Gary?
Thank you.
I would say that my greatest, well, first of all, I have to admit my greatest disappointments and embarrassments have been varied and many. And I was sitting here trying to pick one of the greatest, and I just said, I'll let that go. But the greatest accomplishment for me would be my family. And I don't know if you can call that an accomplishment because we don't pick our family. So I think it may be my greatest blessing. But I'm really, I guess the older I get, the more I appreciate the relationships within the family. And it's not just the immediate family, although my daughters are, my heart and soul. And I've learned so much from them, but it's also both sides of my extended family. There's just, people are just really good about checking in and caring for each other and supporting each other. And so that's my greatest joy. And I don't know if I can call it an accomplishment, but that's what came to mind for me there. So the number 5, yes, my family is all of the above, and so a lot of, as far as on the American side, a lot of obviously African roots, but also Native American roots, and also European roots, and we also look a lot like the world in a sense because we have ties in Sicily, in Italy. My granddaughter is part Filipina. My husband is from Senegal. So I've got a whole African side to my close family. So yes, and gender diversity, all of it. We got all of it, and it all fits. And everybody is, I think, feels just as comfortable as everybody else. And then the last is the favorite, number 6. I would say my favorite all-time poem and book, because the book is poetry, would be The Prophet by Gibran, Khalil Gibran.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah, thank you so much for your candor. And I guess I just want to say ditto. I do know your family, and you have a stupendous, terrific family. There's no doubt about that. So David's friend, who is the new brother that's with us, again, go ahead and unmute yourself for a minute. David, I want your friend to unmute himself.
All right.
Because he's talking, but we can't hear him.
I'm doing.
Okay, got you.
Okay.
How's that? Am I coming through?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Again, I apologize for being late, but thank you, David, for inviting me to this wonderful group. I've enjoyed the discussion thus far. Just to jump in, my greatest accomplishment, probably being a dad and raising 2 awesome sons who have gone on to do some wonderful things. And I'm just proud to be a father. Being a Black father is a challenge, it's a struggle, but it's my greatest joy. My greatest disappointment would be just not having secured a relationship with my own father before his passing. That's my greatest disappointment. Not having worked hard enough to bridge our differences. And unfortunately, my father passed on maybe about 6 years ago. In retrospect, I believe I may have fell short in doing some of the things I needed to do to bridge our differences. My greatest embarrassment, I guess when I think back, maybe just being a proud dad, and sometimes at my son's sporting event, just over celebrating. And I guess maybe my kids were embarrassed by my behavior at times. But I have no regrets about that. Now, I'm just quickly looking over the list. In terms of multicultural background, my background is very diverse. My parents are Jamaicans, and I grew up in London, England. I have families that still live in London, families that live in Jamaica, family throughout the United States. So just being able to interface with the different cultures, the different, attitudes that comes with the different cultures, it's pretty diverse and interesting. But I think I'm enriched and by the various exposures. Let's see. Favorite pastime. I'm a fitness fanatic, so that tends to be my everything. I believe we must value our physical temple, and we are what we eat. We are whatever time that we put in to make sure our bodies is properly exercised and our mental and emotional balance is in place. So I'm all about the wholesomeness of the temple. And that, is one of my core vices. I'm just a fitness fanatic. Um, how can we turn Texas blue? I think we just got to do more of what we did this last go around, and we just got to do whatever it takes. But I think ultimately we'll get there. We're almost there, but I'm really excited about the future in terms of redirecting our political barometers and bringing us to a place where it's about the people, we the people. And so pretty much that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Leon. I think that you're going to fit right in with this group.
I appreciate you.
And I'm going to make sure that we send you the charter, what we are proposing as a charter statement for a more perfect union. Well, we're about to exceed our contracted time. I just wanted to make a few comments. I'm only going to speak to one in terms of my greatest accomplishments. I think I'm going to suspend my comments about being a father, but my greatest accomplishment is probably when we try to, or when as a family, my wife and I, is that when she has an engagement away from the house, like going to the nursing home to be with her sister, my greatest accomplishment is helping her get out the house. And I'm absolutely serious about that in terms of the wear and tear and the stress on me going up and down the stairs, going back and forth to the car, toting our bags to the car, looking for her telephone, looking for her keys, and then getting a call to say that I've got to go to the computer and I've got to download a COVID document and I've got to email that to the nursing home. And I wanted to say it's overbearing. That is in fact my greatest accomplishment, is helping her to leave the house. And my next greatest accomplishment is me finding some type of tool or instrument where I can just decompress after helping her get to her car. Helping her to get her seat in place so that she can get in the car and sit down, and it's almost like I got to turn the ignition to get the car started. But anyway, it's a major challenge to me, but she's a pure sweetheart. There's no doubt about that. But if y'all have any suggestions as to how we can do some planning here at this house to help her leave the house, and it's been like this for 40 years. Something happens to our brain. Once we leave and go, something goes wrong. But anyway, but she's the most political person that I know of, and I wish that we could have her on the call to talk about what the expectations for America. Well, I just wanted to mention that we'll talk further about this, but I wanted us to have a bonding moment to get us to know each other better as to what motivates, what animates us as people that's cross-racial or transracial or transcultural. And I do think that we are getting that idea. We did get some of that accomplished. Next time, we'll talk a little bit about the vaccine. Hopefully we can have Ms. Tolu, the epidemiologist, with us to talk about the vaccine to answer any questions. continue to do the welfare checks. Bob, do you know how David's son is doing, who's recovering from the automobile accident?
I honestly don't know. I haven't heard that he
Okay.
may be dealing with that over the holidays.
Okay, I would check in with Claire Jeanette and see how she and her husband is doing. I've been communicating with Ms. Stevens via email. So the AARP group is going to happen, and they have a big production that is planned for the combination information dissemination and the caregiving support group that they are putting together, directed by Eddie Oram. So that will in fact be happening. Wendy will be giving us a presentation on, and Shara, I've taken the liberty of connecting Wendy to you about a presentation on the Low Turn Row film project, curriculum project that they have done that has been featured in the New York Times. I've asked everybody to look at episodes 5 and 6 of the New York Times 1619 project, which is very compatible with the effort that Wendy and Fred that they did in Grimes County. So please do that. Look at episodes 5 and 6. You might want to do the entire 1619 project. So we're going to check out. I think that we've done pretty good in staying close to our contracted time. So everybody be safe. Everybody be safe going in 2021. We're going to ask you to check out with any final statement that you would like to make. And again, we want to thank Ms. Brandy. We want to thank you all who sent the contributions, because we have to pay for the Zoom facility. We can take up to 100 participants. So if you have other people that you think you need to recommend, like David Johnson did, let's please do that. But Ms. Brandy, we want to give you just a special hand clap, thumbs up, for just a superior job that you have done in hosting this event, this gathering. So where do we want to start? James Lee, I think that we're going to start with you and Charlotte checking us out with your found statements for the 2020 year. Ask them to unmute, please. Unmute. Let me put in the
2020.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
2020 was not a good year for me. I'm looking forward to 2021 to be a much better year. My parting comments to everyone at this point is, I hope that you have a Merry Christmas, and I hope that your 2021 will be a whole lot better than 2020 was.
Okay. Jim, you forced me to say this in the interest of building this beloved community about the friendship factor. So when my mother had a massive stroke, and my grandmother was aged, and I had an aunt who eventually got sick in the hometown, and I had to move back to the hometown temporarily, and then I had to commute quite a bit. So I guess when my grandmother was in her 80s, I decided that I would try to get a break from the normal routine, and I said, I'm going to take up to my buddy's house, and he's going to prepare breakfast, which he volunteered to prepare breakfast for her. And so I took my grandmother up to his house. And so when he was not paying any attention, my grandmother leaned over and she said, Junior, she said, how did he get the white people to loan him their house? I mean, my grandmother couldn't fathom the kind of place that he had for her to eat breakfast in. So I think that that's worthy to note. And I think your mother would have been very proud of the rendering, the offering that you had for my family. Charlotte, your closing comments.
Is first, let me wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and hope and pray that we all continue to stay safe. And as I told my grandson yesterday, at least until they just call for the old people to come and get their shots. When they say old people, I'm gonna be in line. But I wish everyone the best, and I like to say, let's just keep moving forward. Keep doing what we've been doing.
Amen.
And I think everything's gonna be all right.
Thank you. Ms. Arthur?
I'd like to wish everyone, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year, a prosperous and blessed new year. And hopefully I think next year is going to be the promised year where we start seeing some clarity with all this virus and downshed that we've had. So I think 2021 will be the great year for everybody. And I just hope and pray for everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Arthur. You have a wonderful voice and a wonderful persona.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Gary.
Oh, I would just say blessings to everybody. The ones that we enjoy today and the ones to come.
Thank you. Miss Wendy Watrous. Yes. Can we let her know she's on mute?
Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So these were wonderful comments, most of which I would echo. One thing I would say, though, is what deeply worries me is if we can keep the Biden administration and Kamala Harris on track to being truly progressive leaders. I am very worried about that. So I hope we have learned our lessons, politically at least, and the problems of governance we have well enough to really keep the pressure on the Biden administration. In the meantime, Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you. David Johnson.
I would like to wish everybody a happy anticipated New Year. I say that we all ought to sit up on New Year's Eve, not to see the new year come in, but to make sure 2020 get the heck out of here. And aside from that, I would just say, let's just keep loving one another.
I love it. Thank you so much. Bob Henson.
Well, my thought at the end of these conversations is always that I'm really honored to be with you folks, and I'm really glad to get to know people today. I thought that was a wonderful thing. Like everybody else, I have hopes for the new year. I have actually fears for the new year, of course. My thought is that we have to repair a lot of things in the new year, including our democracy, and our whole economic system, as a matter of fact, as well as the climate. So we are in such a bad state right now that 2021 has to be a major year of opportunity, but also of responsibility. And so I look forward to being working with all of you folks, and I'm glad to be invited to this group. And I'll talk to Mr. Atwood, see if I can get him on next time.
Okay, thank you. And I'm hoping that maybe in 2021, you take your mighty talent and play that magnificent grand piano that you have at your house.
Right. Well, I hope we can all get together and enjoy some of that. That'd be great.
Okay. Thank you so much. Ms. Carter?
I just want to express my gratitude. In the darkest clouds, there's a silver lining. And I'd have to say this group is the silver lining. I am so grateful to have come into relationship with you. And so I'd just like to move through this transition into the new year in that place, in that space. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want you to know that that story that you told about your work in Los Angeles County with foster kids, weak families, it is just absolutely bowled us over this morning. And so we're going to be meditating on, ruminating on what you told us this morning. We had no idea that you had been involved in that heavy lifting. But anyway, thank you for sharing that with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Leon.
It was not the one that he requires.
Mr. Leon.
Okay. Yeah, I think pretty much what everyone said, I would certainly echo. I would just leave you all with a few parting words. Stay hopeful, stay prayerful, stay dutiful, and be encouraged.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Ms. Randley?
I just want to echo what everyone else is saying, and also just note 2020 was just a hindrance year. But again, we are all above earth right now, so we are actually blessed. So in moving in 2021, just keep pushing, keep moving forward. And again, I echo what Wendy's saying, is that we have to make sure that we hold the President Biden and Harris accountable and keep pushing and pushing and don't give up.
Yeah, thank you for the inspiration. I want to conclude with a statement by Timothy Snyder in his book on tyranny. And Timothy Snyder says, somebody might need to mute. Okay, good. It is institutions that help us to preserve decency. They need our help as well. Do not speak of our institutions if you make them yours by acting on their behalf. Institutions do not protect themselves. They fall one after the other unless each is defended from the beginning. So choose an institution you care about: a court, a newspaper, a law, a labor union, and take its side. Timothy Snyder. Thank you so much. God bless.
That's nice.
Bye, everyone.
Alrighty.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Leon, we'll talk, man. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good New Year. Be safe.
Happy New Year, everyone.
You too, huh?
David Atwood. We're just wrapping up, David. We're just wrapping up, David.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Somebody will notify you of the next meeting.